In this video, I'll uncover why you may have a big distended belly when you're not actually fat. This is an area of frustration for a lot of people because a lot of people work hard to lose weight, they work hard to cut down the belly fat, and then after all that's said and done, they still have a ton of distension in their belly, and it seems that every time they eat, they get this bloating, and then from there, they look fat even though they're actually not. And you may think to yourself, well, if you're having this problem, this is just me. But the truth is, a lot of people face this issue, and as a matter of fact, I've faced it, and I've helped a lot of people reverse it. So that's what I'm gonna share with you in this video, is how to do that, and also what to do when you have a big belly, but you're not actually fat. So stick around to the end of this video, but before we get started, I'm Dr. Zyrowski, and welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, it's a pleasure to have you here. Be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join our notification community, and I'm gonna help you excel your health and your life. Let's go ahead and first talk about some of the many reasons this can happen. Now, the thing is about this is that some people will have one of these issues, some people will have many of these issues. It really just depends on the individual. So we're gonna break down many of the different reasons you may have a lot of distension within your belly. First of all, let's go ahead and talk about irritation, okay? If you have a lot of irritation within your gastrointestinal system, then this, in fact, will cause distension, okay? What is irritation? Now, irritation is gonna be like an inflammatory problem within the gut lining. This inflammatory problem is very dangerous because this is what occurs years and years before somebody's ever diagnosed with like ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, any of these major inflammatory issues within the gastrointestinal system. So it starts with an inflammatory problem. This inflammatory problem can kind of set off a cascade of many different events that cause a lot of distension in the gut. Okay, so if you're someone who is getting a lot of distension, you may have an inflammatory problem within the gut lining. You may have a lot of irritation within the gut lining. It's very important to work to reverse this issue, okay? So that's something that you must focus on. At the end of this video, I'll give a bunch of pro tips on some different strategies that you can use to start helping with these things. Now, irritation's a big one because that means inflammation. And what I'll do too is in the description below, I'll put a link to the actual symptom, and then from there, I'll link a nutritional supplement that we use in order to help people reverse this issue clinically. Because here's the deal, is that you need to actually start working to reverse it. In many cases, this is what you have to do, is you have to use this nutritional approach. Because when we look at the medicinal approach, most of it doesn't work. And as a matter of fact, a lot of it has a lot of different side effects that you don't want. So next on our list is going to be bacteria. Now, bacteria is a problem that many people face as well, just due to an unhealthy lifestyle, due to some mechanisms going wrong within the gastrointestinal system. Much of the bacteria that should be staying within the large intestine makes its way to the small intestines, okay? As a result, when this happens, you get a lot of bloating. It seems that no matter what you eat, you get a whole bunch of bloating and distension from the food that you're eating. Now, the thing is that you might be thinking to yourself, well, if I clean up my diet, then I fix this problem. Wrong, because the problem is that pretty much any starchy fibers, any vegetables, they can go and cause this issue to be worse. So there you are cleaning up your diet thinking you're going to fix the problem, but in fact, when you eat a salad, all of a sudden this just blows up and goes completely the wrong direction. You get a ton of distension and a ton of bloating. So we want to make sure that if we have this issue, that we start working towards fixing it. Now, this is an issue that I face. This is an issue that is pretty bad, and it's really difficult to reverse it. Even when you're doing a good, solid, natural approach, it can take some time. It doesn't happen easily. As a matter of fact, when it comes to any of these different gastrointestinal issues that lead to distension, they are not an overnight, there's no overnight approach to them. It takes time. And so when we have this bacteria in there, we have to get the bacteria flushed from the small intestines and back into the large intestines where it belongs, keep it there so that we're not constantly bloating and also getting a lot of fermentation of food in our gut. And so bacteria is a big one. And the other reason that this one's really dangerous is because it leads to many different vitamin deficiencies. When I had this issue, I kept having deficiencies that were totally uncalled for because I was eating plenty of the different nutrients that I was having deficiencies in. But what happens is the bacteria starts to eat all the nutrition. So as a result, you're not getting it and you're getting a deficiency. Okay, next on our list is acidity. This is a pH problem within the gut. This is a problem a lot of people face, okay? Now, some of the ways that you can know that you have this is, first of all, if you are someone who is burping a lot, if you're someone who has a lot of gas, if you're someone who is eating your meals and after you have your meals, you find that it just sits in your stomach like a rock, and as a result, let's say it feels really heavy and you're really full, like you have this enormous full feeling for a couple hours and then it just goes away completely and you're hungry. Now, this is due to an acidity problem. You're having a hard time breaking down your food because your stomach is too alkaline. As a result, it causes a lot of distension, and it also leads to many other problems because the pH of your stomach is acting as a trigger to actually set off a whole bunch of other functions within the gastrointestinal system. When that pH is off, some of these functions aren't started, some of these functions don't occur. And as a result, you end up with a lot of distension, a lot of bloating, you don't feel well, and you can't break down your food well either. A lot of times people who have this issue will have a hard time with meat. They'll eat meat and it just feels like a rock in their stomach. So another reason or another symptom of this may be that you're eating a salad, and then when your salad comes out, basically it looks in some of those same ways that it did when it went in. You're just not breaking that food down. Next is digestion. Okay, and when I say digestion, what I'm referring to is the ability to actually break down your food so that it can be utilized in your body for, nutrition. So you can actually feed your body. Some people don't have the proper elements within their gut in order to break down the food. When you can't break down that food, what happens is it sits in your gut and it ferments. Okay, when it ferments, it just causes tons of bloating, tons of gas, lots of issues. So what we have to do is we have to make sure that we put in the proper elements to start breaking our food down, right? This is like really important stuff because a lot of people are facing these particular issues and they just think to themselves, well, I'm just bloated all the time. I don't know why. I just have this huge distension. I don't know why. This is why. These are the mechanisms that go wrong. Like I said, in the description, I'll put mechanism gone wrong, what you do about it. I'll just put them right side by side so that it's easy to understand. Next is food sensitivity. What this is referring to is that some people will have a sensitivity to food simply because their immune system decides, I don't like that food. It can be because you have an inflammatory irritation issue within the gut. It can be due to immune dysregulation. It can be due to a lot of different problems. But fact is your body doesn't like it. When your body doesn't like it, basically what will happen within 24 to 48 hours of consuming that food, you will find that you have a ton of distension from that particular food. That food is not sugar necessarily. That food is not a carbohydrate necessarily. That food can be something as easy as or as healthy as a strawberry, a blueberry, a vegetable. Those food sensitivities are just confusing because what happens is we don't know what they are. The best way to actually track what is bothering us is to actually go and chart your food, okay? Chart the food that you're eating and correlate what food is causing distension and then take that out, okay? That's a good tip right there. Let's go ahead and move to the next reason this can happen, okay? When we look at, let me back up here. When we look at the masses of people, this is what masses of people are having a problem with. When we look at a smaller percentage of people, this is a reason that they're having some problems. This is ascites. Essentially, what this problem is when you have a severe liver problem, you can get a whole bunch of swelling and distension in the gut simply because when you have that scarring in the liver, that scarring is causing the fluid to increase in the vessels in the liver and then push a ton of fluid into the abdominal cavity. And so if you get a whole bunch of fluid in the abdominal cavity, it's likely that you got some serious liver problems. Now, once again, this isn't somebody who has a minor fatty liver, but this is something, of course, to take seriously because so many people today have fatty livers that is actually leading to severe liver degeneration. We want to take this seriously. So you likely, if you're having this problem, the ascites, you likely have liver damage, cirrhosis, and then the fluids getting into the abdomen. Okay, here's some different scenarios as to why you might be having this problem or some different symptoms associated with this so you can really identify if this is an issue for you because this is a big issue that you really need to go see your doctor about if you have it. First of all, if you have a known liver problem, okay, then there's a good chance you could have this. Sudden weight gain, you just gain a ton of weight overnight, it seems like, and you gain quite a few pounds within a very short period of time, just a couple days. Decreased appetite, abdomen pain because of all that swelling, it's uncomfortable. Nausea, vomiting, and then heartburn, okay? So if you're having these different symptoms, and then of course your belly is just protruding, then there's a good chance you may have this problem. But like I said, this is associated with some pretty deep liver damage. And so we want to, know that this is serious. You got to work with your doctor, and then you got to start implementing a lot of different nutritional protocols in order to help fix your liver. Pouring in different nutrients to fix the fatty liver, reverse the fatty liver, reverse the cirrhosis of the liver. And then, of course, make sure you're adding some of these pro tips. Okay, now these pro tips are really associated with both of these big problems we talked about. It's associated with all of these right here, but it's also associated with this problem of ascites. Now, quick strategies. Intermittent fasting works really well. I want to see something about these quick strategies, okay? These are building blocks in order to fix the problem. However, they are not the only thing that you should be doing. Many people, when they see me do presentations like this, they very quickly grab some of these quick tips like this, but they leave out the other stuff and they go, well, it didn't work. Well, look, these are strategies, like I said, to build on one another. Now, the truth is, if these different strategies fixed every single issue out there, there would be no need for hospitals. There would be no need for doctors, okay? Every building would just say, do some intermittent fasting and cut out the sugar. Obviously, that's not the case. Obviously, there's so much more to the complexity of many of these issues, but one of the things that we can do is we can add these in with some of the other strategies, and that's how we get results. Intermittent fasting is great for a couple reasons. Some people do better with 16 and 8. Some people do better with 1 meal a day. When you talk about a lot of this distension, if it's irritation in the gut, the intermittent fasting allows your gut to have a break, allows for the inflammation to decrease, allows for the microbiome to almost have a little bit of a reset, allows for your gut to reset. So the intermittent fasting is a great strategy for doing this. And it also is good for your liver, okay? So if you have liver problems, it's good for your liver as well. Cutting out sugar is also important because pretty much any of these issues, whether it's inflammation, whether it's pH and alkalinity, whether it's a problem with bacterial overgrowth, sugar pretty much just messes all of this up. So we want to make sure that we're cutting out sugar, and that pretty much goes for any health problem that you're facing. Remove the food sensitivities. Like I said, you can actually journal and chart your food, and when you chart it and you realize what particular foods are causing you to have a lot of distension, remove them. Once you remove them, you're going to be way better off for it, and you're going to feel so much better, okay? And you're going to want to take a lot of these strategies and kind of pile them up because, sometimes, like I said from the beginning, you may have one of these, you may have multiple of them. Eat clean, okay? I always say that this goes without saying. Make sure that you're eating a good, clean, whole food diet. Make sure that you're cutting out all the artificial foods. Make sure that you're cutting out all these irritants to your gut health. Like I said from the beginning, the gut is a very difficult thing to work with. When we look at the medicine out there, there's so little actually out there that can help with gut problems. And when we look at actually reversing them, like this is it. Like the things that I'm talking about, this is how you reverse them. And so eating clean is very important because we can't put on irritants in the gut and then expect to get results with it. So give this video a thumbs up, share this with your friends because a lot of people need this. Put in the comment section below if you are having distension in your gut. A lot of people suffer from this issue. Let me know if you have this problem. And then be sure to check out this video on bacterial overgrowth in the gut. You're going to want to see this if this is a problem for you. So essentially when we look at this, I said what we're doing is we're looking to kind of reset that whole environment in the gastrointestinal tract. We're looking to reset some of that acidity.